whatever I'm doing, if I don't love what I'm doing, I'm not going to do it at all.
I made that choice, absolutely hated it for the first few months. I did not want to be there most of the time. I was like, I don't have passion for this.
You got to find fulfillment in something that you do in life because, you live once. If you can't find it at work, find it somewhere else. Or go work somewhere else.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Build, the podcast where we discuss leadership, business, legacy, family, etc., all of the above. I'm Flabio. We've got Donald. We're missing Alex on this one. We're doing a little brother duo episode, and Diesel and Council.
I'm Diesel, he's Council. Just so you guys know.
In this one, we're gonna talk about a value or values that our father has imparted to us that I think transcend construction and are things that we apply. I mean, it might sound a little cliche, but we're just gonna riff and give you an insight into the values that center kind of this business and our family. So I think for me personally, as long as I can remember, I feel like Alex, our dad, has always told me to make sure whatever I do that I wholeheartedly love it. I mean, in terms of work, that applies completely because I can just talk back to when I was in college. I did not want to work here.
This man wouldn't step foot into a construction site with a 30-foot barge pole.
Was doing wedding photography at the time, and really focused on filmmaking and photography in general, and wanting to go into the freelance world and just be a full-time freelance wedding photographer when I graduated, and I really loved that, and it was a big passion of mine. But things don't always work out as you expect them to. As I was working 2021, 2022, really trying to grow, really trying to do it. And, I as a college student doing it part-time, my junior year, I was reaching $40,000, $50,000 off of photography. And, I thought if I kept that track, I could double or triple that. But, graduation season didn't really go the way I wanted it to with photography. I mean, I was getting good work, but I wasn't getting the volume of work that would have allowed me to pursue a full-time career that I was really passionate about. And I was offered to work for my father, which I always knew that was on the table, but I was applying for tons of other jobs, did not want to touch it at all. I was like, I'm trying to work in a creative field. I don't want to work in construction. I feel like I'm going to be drained. But the stress of trying to do freelance work and hit all these quotas was, in the long term, probably would have drained my love of photography and would have burned me out. So, at the time, I was like, screw it. I guess we're just going to work for my dad. And I did it.
Best decision he's ever made.
I made that choice, absolutely hated it for the first few months. I did not want to be there most of the time. And I was like, I don't have passion for this. And my mind was always in other places. And where I'm going with this is eventually I did find the passion and the love for this job. It started with, as I was first learning, again, I hated it, didn't really give a darn about it. But within 6-7 months, I was tasked with more responsibilities. I'd been learning a lot in the field, in the office, but I was being put more out into the field where I was directly managing projects and jobs. And I spent a lot of time learning scopes of work, the work we do, everything that's involved in that, material, people, man management, things of that nature. And then it quickly grew from hating it to liking it. And then as I accumulated more projects, more responsibility, and started to get it into a groove, it went from hate to like to eventually now I can confidently say I do love it. And I see what my dad has been telling me for so many years, that you got to love something. Because when I was in the phases of hating it and just liking it, I was like, this isn't a long-term play for me. I'm probably going to be out of here. There's no way. But I kept going. I kind of was like, we just got to keep going day by day and experiencing more things and learning and seeing what happens. And then eventually I started loving the business. I started loving the work we do. I derive a lot of satisfaction, fulfillment from seeing these projects from start to finish. When we start a unit or a home and it's in, pretty bad shape or whatever condition it was left in, and being able to renovate it and seeing it go from what it was to just beautiful and great and and an awesome space that someone or multiple people are going to get to live in and build memories and build their lives. That's really cool that you get to play a part in that journey. And yeah, that's kind of why I think the passion and love for the game, essentially, that my dad talked about for so long has been a really important value, because anything I've done, I've had to make, in terms of career, in terms of work, even like hobbies, I've got to make sure it's something that I truly like, or else I'm not going to keep up with it. And even in cases where you do start off hating it, you could eventually get to liking it and loving it. It just takes a lot of time and chasing your curiosity, I guess, and seeing where things take you. So I'll toss it over to Mr. Don.
What my dad has taught us is loving what you do, especially in construction, or if you're a business owner, you have to wake up 5, 6 a.m. every day, and you have to be at work every day. There's no excuses. So you're either going to have to love what you do, or you're going to burn out or crash out, as people say nowadays. But what I would say, I've always loved construction, because I was, like I said in a previous episode, I was raised in this. Since I was 5, 6 years old, I would help my dad. I remember there was times when I was a little kid and my dad wouldn't bring me to work, and I'd throw a temper tantrum, So Flabio over here was not throwing temper tantrums, I'll tell you that much. I will say, not even just construction, cabinetry, real estate, not Dochi, not Haven and Oak, not Scampa, nothing. What I take from that in real life is I'm a big person on sports. I manage a rec soccer team, and we play basketball together. Or whether it's weightlifting or whatever I'm doing, if I don't love what I'm doing, I'm not going to do it at all. Especially if you put that effort into it. Like with me, at least. I used to be a big guy, right? I was Big Diesel.
Big Diesel is his name for a very particular reason.
I was 340 pounds in high school. So, and at the time, I didn't care. What I was doing with weightlifting, you have to put the effort into it and go through with what you're doing, So what your parents teach you, you can use in every single facet of your life. If your dad is a business owner, or if your dad's a doctor, or if your dad's, a custodian, it doesn't matter. What your parents do teach you, you can use anywhere in life. And for us, we use it at work, we use it in our personal lives, and with all of our achievements that we have. So I think that's a lot of good advice that we've taken in, and we continue to use every day, and we're going to continue to learn, because we are young, believe it or not. So
25? Yeah. Not 25 yet, 24. Let me not age myself. But I think the value of making sure we love what we do, making sure we have passion behind our work, is something that both of us have really encountered and utilized all the time. Always just checking in, like, do I love my job? Do I love this? Do I love that? And making sure we're not, you are going to waste time on things that you don't like, and you're going to burn out and move on to the next. But I think it's really important to always have that check-in of like, okay, I started the job, or I'm working in this field. How do I feel about it? Is this something that gives me passion, fulfillment, satisfaction, or is it something that I'm just using to make some money? Which, that's fine. You could have a job that you don't really like that makes you a ton of money, and you could get passion and fulfillment in other ways, through your hobbies, through the people around you, and things like that. So it doesn't always have to be limited to the workplace. It could be, in every facet of your life. So
you got to find fulfillment in something that you do in life, because, you live once. So if you can't find it at work, find it somewhere else, or go work somewhere else.
But anyways, I think that's a wrap on the value that, or one of the values that our father has taught us that we utilize in every which way. A bit of reflection on that. So thank you guys for tuning into The Build. We'll see you next time.